Understanding the breadth and depth of advanced civilizations beyond our planet requires the imagination to peer through the lens of possibilities, not limited by our current scientific and technological grasp. In his book, Ringmakers of Saturn, Dr. Norman Berggren, a former NASA research scientist, presents remarkable photographs captured by Voyager 1 during its 1980 flight. The purpose of sending Voyager 1 to Saturn's rings was to explore peculiar anomalies previously observed from Earth, and the images sent back by the mission left NASA astonished. Berggren, who was employed at NASA's Ames Research Center in Moffett Field, California, achieved recognition with esteemed accolades, such as the Archimedes Engineering Achievement Award, presented by the California Society of Professional Engineers. In addition to his affiliation with NASA, Berggren also contributed to classified and notable aerospace endeavors at Lockheed Martin. Having access to classified documents during his tenure had its consequences, as Berggren himself mentioned in an interview with Project Camelot. He emphasized that he had to make a long-term commitment by signing confidentiality agreements for 30 years. Despite the passage of time, Berggren hinted that there are still limitations on what he can disclose, and he expressed concern that his safety would be at risk if he were to divulge too much information. Having been granted exclusive permission to view the original NASA photographs transmitted by Voyager 1 in 1980, Berggren personally observed something that was kept hidden from the public eye. As a result, he became the first credible and confirmed member of the scientific community to uncover the existence of cylindrical vehicles. Berggren's findings were revealed in his book, which provided a detailed account of what Voyager 1 had witnessed. However, despite facing difficulties in getting his book published in the United States, Berggren eventually found success in Aberdeen, Scotland. In the book, there is a picture of an object in the A-ring of Saturn that was intentionally created and referred to as an electromagnetic vehicle. This object was remarkably massive, measuring 2,000 miles in length and over 450 miles in diameter. The construction of an object of such magnitude would require advanced technology, and it raises questions about the identity of the individuals or entities capable of achieving such an extraordinary engineering task. Dr. Berggren revealed that he was uncertain about the origins of a peculiar entity. However, his findings indicated that these entities are present in Saturn, where he first observed them. Interestingly, they have now been detected in Uranus and Jupiter as well, particularly in areas with rings. Dr. Berggren refers to this phenomenon as the ringmaker. In his analysis of the unusual images from Voyager 1, he provided a description, stating that he observed parallel lines intersecting all of the rings simultaneously. He concluded that these lines delineated the outer boundaries of an object, providing limited visibility. In his explanation, he clarified the nature of the object he was observing as an electromagnetic vehicle. His reasoning was based on his ability to perceive streamline patterns, which he recognized as potential lines commonly associated with electrical phenomena. Berggren speculated that these spacecraft might be responsible for the creation of the rings, which is why he titled his book accordingly. However, other experts suggest that they could be engaged in extracting the valuable metals and nutrients that compose the rings. Regardless, this is an astounding find that seems to have been kept hidden from the public. A reviewer of Berggren's book described Saturn's rings as unnatural and believed them to be byproducts of colossal cylindrical objects with dimensions comparable to Earth's. In the realm of speculative astrobiology and futurology, a civilization's technological advancement is often gauged by the Kardashev scale. Proposed by Russian astrophysicist Nikolai Kardashev in 1964, this scale initially included 3 levels of civilization, based on the amount of usable energy at their disposal. A Type 1 civilization uses all available resources on its home planet, a Type 2 harnesses the energy of its local star, and a Type 3 can utilize energy on the scale of its own galaxy. A Type 3 civilization would have developed technologies and techniques far beyond our understanding, potentially achieving significant feats, such as building Dyson swarms or spheres around numerous stars to harness their energy, creating galaxy-spanning structures, or tapping into the power of supermassive black holes found at the centers of most galaxies. To grasp the technological prowess of a Type 3 civilization, we must first comprehend the sheer scale of their energy consumption. Our sun alone releases more energy in 1 second than humanity has consumed throughout its entire history. Now, imagine harnessing the energy of billions of such stars. The result would be a civilization capable of shaping its galaxy according to its needs and desires. Given this scale, such a civilization would likely have achieved interstellar travel, be capable of manipulating space-time to their will, and have highly advanced technologies for information processing and communication that span across light years. They could be masters of advanced sciences, such as quantum mechanics, artificial intelligence, and genetics, leading to unimaginable breakthroughs in knowledge and capabilities. Furthermore, the societal structure and culture of a Type 3 civilization is another source of profound speculation. They could potentially have transcended biological forms, evolved into digital consciousness, or developed forms of communication and societal structures beyond our comprehension. However, as with all conjectures about advanced life, the existence of a Type 3 civilization raises questions and paradoxes. If Type 3 civilizations exist, their influence and activity should be noticeable, yet we observe no such evidence. It's important to recognize the speculative nature of these discussions. As of today, humanity is not even a Type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale, and the leap to Type 3 is almost unimaginable. Yet these discussions serve a valuable purpose, not just as intellectual exercises, but as tools that allow us to explore our future and set aspirations for technological advancement, space exploration, and our understanding of the cosmos. Although Kardashev did not officially extend the scale beyond Type 3, futurists and speculative scientists have suggested higher levels, including the concept of a Type 4 civilization. A civilization of this magnitude would command power equivalent to the energy output of the entire universe. This thought-provoking concept challenges our understanding of technology, energy use, and the very fabric of existence. A Type 4 civilization would wield unimaginable technological prowess, transcending our current laws of physics. It would likely exist in a post-biological state, with its members being advanced artificial intelligences or a fusion of biological and artificial life, capable of manipulating matter and energy on a universal scale. Their understanding of the universe, its laws, and their ability to manipulate these laws would be so advanced that it might seem like magic to our current scientific understanding. Such a civilization might construct megastructures that dwarf galaxies or create and destroy universes at will. It would be capable of utilizing the energy of black holes, harnessing the power of dark energy, and likely deciphering and manipulating dimensions beyond our current four-dimensional perception of space-time. Although this concept is intellectually stimulating, it is essential to remember that it exists within the realm of speculation and theory, far from our present scientific and technological capabilities. Humanity, as it stands, has not yet even reached Type 1 status, still reliant on non-renewable energy resources, and far from utilizing all potential energy sources on Earth. The possibility of a Type 4 civilization raises philosophical and ethical questions. With such immense power, what would be the priorities and goals of such a civilization? How would they perceive lower-level civilizations like ours? And perhaps most intriguingly, if such civilizations exist, why have we found no evidence of them? A quandary famously known as the Fermi paradox. As of right now, contemplating the existence of a Type 4 civilization is an exercise in stretching the boundaries of our understanding of technological progression, energy use, and our place in the universe. While the concept might seem wildly speculative, it serves as a tool to consider future possibilities, reminding us of the infinite potential for growth, exploration, and discovery. As we continue to advance and make our way up the Kardashev scale, we can only dream of what such levels of advancement might bring. Two strange blobs of X-ray energy are swirling out of the galaxy's center. Giant floating blobs are not the first thing that comes to mind when thinking about space, but scientists seem to be pondering a lot recently. Specifically, they are trying to learn more about two strange orbs at the heart of the Milky Way. But before we get into that, we need to first learn a bit about our galaxy's history. Over millions of years in the past, our galaxy was host to a gigantic explosion. This giant expulsion of energy is believed to have sent two identical shockwaves across space itself. These two waves shot all the way over the Milky Way, heating up massive amounts of space material as they did so. It is this event that has caused two giant orbs of hot gamma rays floating in space. Energized by the waves from millions of years ago, these blobs are still visible to us today. The blobs are known as the Fermi bubbles and stretch nearly half the width of the Milky Way. One of the bubbles hovers a massive 25,000 light-years over the Milky Way's disk, and the other does the same beneath it. They were first discovered in 2010, but up until recently, we have known relatively little about them. Continued research has only brought up more questions about the Fermi bubbles. Structures within the bubbles, such as chimneys of plasma and balloons of radio energy, have been spotted using wavelength technology. One of the latest discoveries of other Fermi bubble-like structures are the E-Rosita bubbles. These structures are only visible through X-rays. They are much colder than the Fermi bubbles, but they are nearly the same size, measuring about 45,000 light-years in length. They also share the same displacement pattern as the Fermi bubbles, with them towering above and below the galaxy in a specific shape. Because of their similarities, it is believed that the Fermi and E-Rosita bubbles share a common originator, and even a physical relationship. It is likely they both emerged from the huge explosion mentioned earlier. But what astronomers are still questioning is what caused the explosion in the first place. One theory is that it may have been something to do with an energetic outburst by the Milky Way's giant black hole, Sagittarius A star. Scienceland OSIRIS-REx probe on Bennu asteroid. Often, to understand more about things we do not, it is helpful to look at where they have come from or how they were made. For astronomers, there is a great deal of mystery surrounding plenty of different celestial objects. For us to understand a little bit more, we need to take a peek behind the curtain, a glance behind the scenes, and see what these bodies are made out of. Research aiming to discover exactly this has been well underway, with NASA launching a spacecraft aiming to collect a sample of material from an asteroid. In 2016, a launch from Cape Canaveral kickstarted this project, resulting in what we can only hope was a successful sample retrieval in 2020. NASA successfully landed their spacecraft, described to be the size of a van, on the asteroid Bennu, avoiding numerous obstacles and challenges on its course along the way. The aim is that this craft will remotely retrieve rubble from the surface of the asteroid and then will deliver this sample back to us on Earth to analyze and hopefully understand a little better. So far, the mission seems to have been an overwhelming success. According to the team running this mission, preliminary data showed that the collection went ahead smoothly as had been planned. Lead scientist Dante Loretta from the University of Arizona commented, "I can't believe we actually pulled this off." Jim Bridenstine, the administrator of NASA, congratulated the team and highlighted the significance of this discovery, pointing out that the planned mission would mean that the team would be returning the largest sample to be brought back to Earth from space since Apollo. For reference, the Apollo program began in 1961, and the 11th mission in this series in 1969 was what finally put man on the moon. The OSIRIS-REx probe first revealed successful contact with asteroid Bennu from over 200 miles away, though even when the scientists knew successful contact had been made, the suspense was not over. It then becomes a waiting game for the sample to safely return to Earth, and for scientists to confirm that the sample of the asteroid material was in fact retrieved, and whether the sample was substantial enough. If everything continues to run to plan during the OSIRIS-REx mission, the samples will be returned in 2023. A similar mission was conducted by Japan, which made its way back to Earth in December of 2020. This mission collected samples of Voyager, a 4.5 billion-year-old asteroid, making this the first mission to return subsurface asteroid samples back to Earth. The mission was dubbed Hayabusa 2 and was a great success. It took the OSIRIS-REx space probe an approximate 4.5 hours to make the transitional journey from being in a tight orbit to making it to the surface, directed through commands prepared in advance by ground control in Denver. Now, the complications did not end here. Bennu is only 1,670 feet across, making the gravitational force on the asteroid too low for the spacecraft to land and then collect the required sample. Instead, from a small height, an 11-foot robotic arm reached out and down to collect some of the asteroid. For an adequate sample, Bennu needed to ideally snatch up at least 2 ounces for a good sample size when conducting analysis. Heather Enos, deputy scientist for the mission and associated with the University of Arizona, described this delicate procedure as kissing the surface with a short touch and go measured in just seconds. The spacecraft had a window to aim for to try and collect the sample from, aiming for a spot that has been described as a few car parking spaces in size. The area in the middle of the Nightingale crater on the asteroid is where the sample was due to come from. The spacecraft spent nearly 2 years orbiting Bennu prior to this location being selected. Scientists determined that the so-called parking space-sized section in the middle of the Nightingale crater was the ideal spot to gather the sample from, since this had the biggest area of particles. Bennu is thought to be composed of material that will tell us much of the foundation for the building of the solar system. In appearance, the sample should be black and crumbly, and we expect it to be high in carbon. To collect the sample, OSIRIS-REx was programmed to release pressurized nitrogen gas. This mixed up the surface of the asteroid, and then loose pebbles and dust were sucked up. For those of us who might not be able to wrap our heads around the significance of Bennu, NASA's science mission chief, Thomas Zurbuchen, made a comparison between Bennu and the Rosetta Stone, stating, "Something that's out there and tells us the history of our entire Earth, the solar system, during the last billions of years." And another bonus as we learn more about Bennu is that within the next century, there is a small possibility that it could collide with Earth, not like in the films or in a way that wiped out the dinosaurs, but the possibility of minor impact is there. NASA plans to launch 3 more asteroid missions similar to this one over the coming years, though it won't be until 2023 before we get our hands on the Bennu samples. Hints of a planet in the habitable zone of a dead star. This cooling process, in which the star's hydrogen also runs out, will happen to 95% of stars, including our own. While it is rare to find planets orbiting these white dwarfs, the first indications of a planet is the white dwarf's habitable zone may have been found. The researchers were able to observe the white dwarf using the European Southern Observatory's New Technology Telescope in Chile, as well as NASA's Transition Exoplanet Survey satellite. They were able to find planetary debris around the white dwarf, including structures the size of a moon. The movements of these structures suggest the presence of a nearby planet that is estimated to be a similar size to Earth and orbits close to the white dwarf. Incredibly, it has been estimated that it orbits the white dwarf at only 1.7% of the distance between the Sun and the Earth. Due to this finding, researchers have noted that the possible planet's formation or arrival in the area must have been a recent development, as in after the red giant collapsed into the white dwarf, because the possible planet and debris are orbiting so close that it would have been destroyed by the red giant. Professor Jay Farihi, the lead author of the research paper, reflected, "The possibility of a major planet in the habitable zone is exciting and also unexpected. We were not looking for this. However, it is important to keep in mind that more evidence is necessary to confirm the presence of a planet. We cannot observe the planet directly, so confirmation may come by comparing computer models with further observations of the star and orbiting debris." While more research is needed to better understand the nature of WD 1054226's planetary debris clouds, the study provides an exciting new lead in discovering more about our universe. Despite what we do know, the universe is still a vast and mysterious place, and we are constantly learning new things about it. In the past few years alone, there have been some incredible discoveries in astronomy that have changed our understanding of the cosmos. From finding hints of a planet in the habitable zone of a dead star to a computer programmer finding a crash site on the moon, we are continually uncovering never-before-seen aspects of space. But what do you make of these recent discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.